item in the paranormal community that people have wrestled with, especially the people who are religious, is whether or not animals have souls. I can tell you with absolute certainty that they do, and I hope you can fit that into your paradigm. I've had quite a few requests by animal lovers to show any photos I have of animal ghosts. So I'm going to show you the best of the many that I have, and I'm going to save a few anomalies that may raise other questions for last. So let's start off with the domestic animals that we are often closest to: dogs, cats, and horses. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon of which is better, as I like all animals, and have had experiences with ghosts of all three. My first experience with an animal ghost was right after we lost our cat, ironically called Smokey because of the smoky appearance of his fur. We lost him in 2017 in a house fire which spread unbelievably fast because the house was an open concept, and the fact that everything was so combustible. I've sometimes seen his semi-transparent body and have felt him rub against my leg. That experience seems to have opened the floodgates for my experiences with other animal ghosts, and in particular with the multiple experiences I've had with a white horse in Colonial Williamsburg, which I will get to in just a few minutes. So to keep everyone happy, I'm going to jump back and forth between animals, but I'm going to start with one of my favorite breeds of dog, which is the animal I captured in this photo, the Golden Retriever. First captured at the Williamsburg jail. Some may argue that this is a Golden Lab, which is fine. I've had one of those too. The gold color was like an ephemeral mist that you could really go either breed for this one. Things are not always as clear cut as we would like them to be in the paranormal realm of existence. The second photo, taken at Belgrove Plantation in Virginia, does not have any color to it. But when you take into account the shape of the dog's face, along with the multiple sightings of a Golden Retriever ghost, as witnessed by multiple guests, it's not a stretch to conclude that this is the friendly culprit. Taken right in front of Christiana Campbell's in Colonial Williamsburg, a seated shadow person holds a cat that looks very much like a Russian blue that I had a long time ago. The ghost of a young 18th century girl clutching her pet cat showed up next at the courthouse of 1770. She was standing on the perimeter of my ghost tour group, evidently listening to what I had to say about the ghosts, there while clutching her cat. I had to lighten this photograph as she almost looked like a shadow person. This young dog, perhaps a beagle, appeared right outside of what used to be the William and Mary bookstore in Merchant Square, and now called the Campus Store. This ghost cat, all puffed up and ready to defend itself, appeared on the grounds of the former Hankins plantation just outside of Williamsburg. Nothing showed up in the photo to show cause for why this cat was on high alert. It may have been something not visible to the camera as well as to the human eye. The ghosts of these two little dogs were photographed floating in the air near the guardhouse for the Powder magazine in Colonial Williamsburg. Although not your idea of a guard dog, perhaps they were kept at the guardhouse more for their bark than their bite. Kind of like an early warning system. The ghost of what appears to be a horse appeared in the window of the Robert Carter house in Colonial Williamsburg. No, I don't believe the horse was kept inside the house, but I do think that glass is a type of portal that enabled this ghost to appear. As for the color, it was very dark, and when I lightened it up to see better, it became blue. What's ironic about this next photo is that I went both inside and outside of this next building to hopefully give evidence of some of the cruel treatments given to the 18th century insane, and all I got was a group of cats looking out the window of the Williamsburg Asylum, the first American hospital for the insane, built in 1773. It wasn't until I went around the back of the building much later that the ghostly occupants allowed me to capture them in a photograph. But I wonder, were these cats therapy animals, or perhaps used just to keep the rat and mouse population down in this asylum? This dog was photographed in the window of the Bluebell Tavern, conveniently located behind the Capitol building, and rumored to have ladies of the evening there for the politicians. That rumor has been around for a long time, but Colonial Williamsburg maintains there's no proof of that assertion. Besides, who ever heard of politicians sleeping around and cheating on their wives. Photo from the Ludwell Paradise House in Colonial Williamsburg has a cat on a prominent display with a female phantom, but there is also a dog at her feet. This looks like a Scottish Terrier taken in Staunton, Virginia at the birthplace of President Woodrow Wilson. Lots of color and detail in this photo. This little fellow really wanted to be seen. The ghost of a faceless female phantom and her horse was taken in the field behind the tavern parking lot in Colonial Williamsburg, casually leaning up against the fence as if she is tired from riding. She seems to have some kind of sack or purse at her waist with a strap over her shoulder, perhaps a bag of treats for her equine friend. In this photo from Belle Grove Plantation, you will find 1 dog, 3 to 4 cats with a female ghost in the background, almost as if it was more important that I photograph her pets rather than her. This next photo is the oversized head of one of the smallest members of the canine family, the Chihuahua, looking over a fence. Once you know the hubris of this little dog, you will understand why his head is so big. I found this friendly looking creature in the window of the Market Square Tavern. I'm not sure what breed this is, but he looks like the Hound from Hell. And if I were staying in one of the rooms there, I would not want this ghost in my room. And yes, if you would like haunted accommodations, book a room at the Market Square Tavern in Colonial Williamsburg. You will have Confederate soldiers walking through your room late at night, and perhaps this little hellhound watching your every move. If you get a room overlooking the backyard, you may see a one-armed Confederate soldier digging in the amputation pit to find his other arm. I found this little dog's apparition staring through some Venetian blinds at the tiny slave quarters, which is right at the entrance to the Williamsburg Inn. If you like the idea of tiny homes and ghosts, hey, you can rent this home and spend your vacation with this little canine ghost, as well as some of the former slaves that lived in this house. At the Chiswell Bucktrot House, just down a few homes from the slaves' quarters, you can find another canine apparition peering through the Venetian blinds, along with another pair of eyes behind the top of the dog's head. Are these the eyes of a much larger dog, a person, or something else? What do you think? This little dog seems to be waiting on the governor's green for someone or something. What breed do you think it is? For you horse lovers, here are 2, perhaps 3 apparitions accompanied by several human ghosts at the Powder magazine. The full-body apparition of a woman is fairly modern, as she had to be from the 20th century because she's wearing pants. But hold on, as I have a great story at the end of this video about my multiple encounters with a solid white horse. Before we get to that, we have just a few anomalous animal apparitions that just may make you ponder. What's a ghost to do in the evening here in Colonial Williamsburg? Why, he takes his 2 ghost dogs for a walk. This horse apparition appeared on the Duke of Gloucester Street, right near the greenhouse store, and take notice, its rear leg is starting to disappear. This woman appears to be riding a white animal too small to be a horse. Nevertheless, she would have to be a very small woman. Is this a large dog breed like a Great Pyrenees? I know, the face doesn't look like a Pyrenees, which I've also had, but it could be a hybrid. You be the judge. One evening close to Halloween, I had an owl follow me throughout Colonial Williamsburg, hooting at me when I would stop to take photos. By my last stop, the tree it flew into had lost most of its leaves, so I was able to take its photo. 2 things about this so-called owl that don't add up. 1, the eyes are mostly white except for the pupils, but real owls either have amber-colored eyes or they are very dark brown. 2, it either has a white chest or a white ghost appeared on its chest. So a real owl would not have either the white eyes or a white chest with what appears to be a human face on it. I know there is a white barn owl, but it has a mottled white all over its body and does not look like this photo. What do you think? This next ghost animal looks like no animal that I have ever seen. And because it was photographed at the very haunted, and some say cursed, Peyton Randolph House in Colonial Williamsburg, some would call this demonic. Again, I will hand over the gavel to you, let you be the judge. So what kind of ghost or animal is it? Taken at the Taliaferro Coal House, this next anomalous photo, at first sight seems to be a dragonfly, but neither do they fly at night, nor do they glow in the dark. It was taken without a flash, but it's still glowing. This was a 3-second exposure, And if you've ever seen a dragonfly, you know that its wings move so fast they're difficult to see. Yet here it is suspended in mid-air with its wings perfectly still. Some people say because of the aforementioned anomalies that this is not a dragonfly but a fairy. Put on your black robe, this is your courtroom, you be the judge for that decision. Near Williamsburg, Virginia is the town of West Point, about 40 minutes away, that has a legend of a Confederate ghost train carrying wounded Confederate soldiers. That train derailed and killed them before reaching West Point. Hundreds of people have seen the bright headlight of that train at a certain crossing where it derailed. I've seen and photographed that light at the crossing, as well as photographing other ghosts and anomalies at that very haunted site. This is one of those anomalies. Just the face of a large gray wolf appeared over the tracks, and if you look closely, it has two sets of eyes. The first set of eyes are wide open, as if the animal has seen something that scared it, and they partially obscure the second set of eyes immediately behind the first. Could the apparition of another animal be trying to appear over this apparition of the gray wolf? I have a special bond with a white ghost horse in Colonial Williamsburg, and I have 3 photos to prove my story. I'm not sure why this horse chose me, and has shown up 4 times for me to see it, but fortunately I was able to photograph 3 out of the 4 times it appeared to me. This is a photo of my first encounter as I was heading east down the Duke of Gloucester Street. A ghost tour was stopped right in the middle of the road, and I took a photo of it. To my surprise, standing behind the people gathered, there was this white ghost horse. No, Colonial Williamsburg's horses have long been put away in their stalls for the night. So there was no mistake, this is a ghost horse. You could only see one of its eyes, which was open wide as if it had seen something that had frightened it. By the way, I had to black out people's faces in the crowd because I did not have permission to use their likeness in a video. The second time I saw the white horse was on the left side of the Coke Garrett house, which is traditionally where the president of Colonial Williamsburg lives. If you look at the photo closely, you see 2 white horse heads. That could mean there are 2 white ghost horses from this 18th century original home, or the horse moved its head during the 3-second long exposure, making it a double exposure. This leads me to believe this is the home of the ghost horse, likely under the ownership of either the Koch family or the Garrett family. This final photo of the white ghost horse was taken in the field behind the tavern parking lot. If you look closely at this photo, you could see the horse's tail, with the body pointing away at an angle from the camera. However, the horse's head is turned around almost 180 degrees, with its head down in the grass between its front and rear legs. An impossible angle for a real horse to graze at. I've never seen a horse graze anywhere but between its 2 front legs. Whether a ghost horse can graze, I cannot say, but perhaps it's reliving a moment in its previous life. My last experience with a white ghost horse is the most profound. However, it happened so quickly that I did not have time to set my camera up, so I can only retell my experience. One evening, I was walking back to my car after giving a ghost tour along the road that the Williamsburg Inn is on. I was about 100 feet away from where my car was parked when I saw this white horse galloping at full speed down the road and across the parking lot. It happened so fast that I did not have time to get out my camera, but I could see the horse as plain as day. The only thing is I could not hear the clopping of its hooves at full gallop. Had it been a real horse, I would have heard that. I glanced down the road from where it came from, and I saw a gray wolf in the middle of the road. I quickly glanced the other way to see where the horse had gone, but it had disappeared. I quickly looked back the other way to see if the gray wolf was still in the middle of the road, but it too had disappeared. At that point, I just shook my head because I felt like I had just relived a moment in that horse's life again, wondering why that horse had shared that experience with me. I have yet to see that horse a 5th time, but I wish it well and hope that it has peace instead of living in fear of that gray wolf. I have photographed human ghosts reliving horrific experiences, and I don't wish that on anyone, whether it's human or animal. So based on these photos, I must say that yes, animals have souls. Some of these souls get stuck here on this earthly plane much the way human souls do. I have a different perspective about the ones that are not stuck here that you are free to agree with or disagree. I have had several experiences similar to the ones of the fictional Dennis Quaid character in the movie A Dog's Purpose. And from those experiences, I can only conclude that a pet's soul can reincarnate. Sometimes as the same breed, sometimes in a completely different breed, and return to you, particularly if you were a good pet owner and treated him or her with love and respect. Here's a photo of a dog that I presently have that I believe returned to me. So all of you animal owners, take heart. If you have lost a pet that you love very much, that animal may return to you. It may not have the exact same personality of your previous pet, but there may just be nuances, that one special trick, like in the movie, that let you know your pet has returned to you. By the way, don't forget to check out Amazon for my books on haunted historic colonial Williamsburg. Links provided below.